So now that we figured out how to do the mean absolute deviation, here's an actual example. I'm going to do this one. I want you to just watch, and then I'm going to give you one to try by yourself. So it says, you record the numbers of raisins and 8 scoops of cereal. Find and interpret the mean absolute deviation of the data. Okay, so why you would be doing this, I'm not quite sure, but that's okay. We'll just go with it. So step 1, find the mean. So first thing I want to do is add all the numbers and divide it by how many numbers there are to get the mean. So I'm going to add some of these in my head. So I know this is 2, 4, 6, plus 4 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So this whole chunk is 11. And then I have 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 4 is 13. So now I'm just going to add these two together. I get 24. So when I add them all up, I get 24. And now I'm going to divide it by how many numbers I have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So added them all up and got 24. Dividing it by 8 numbers. 24 divided by 8 is 3. So my mean is 3. Now what I have to do is take my mean, which is 3, and subtract all of these numbers from it and write the new answers. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So I'm going to write that. 3 minus 2 is 1. Oops, that's huge. 3 minus the next 2, also 1. 3 minus the next 2, also 1. Now the numbers are getting bigger, so I just subtract opposite. So 4 minus 3 is 1. 4 minus 3 is 1. 4 minus 3 is 1. 5 minus 3 is 2. So now I have all of the distances from my original data and the mean, which was 3. Now I find the mean of these. So I'm going to add them all up. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 when I add those. I'm going to divide it by how many numbers there are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's not changing. 8 goes into 10 once. Subtract. You get a remainder of 2. So we'll add a decimal point. And we'll add a 0 and bring it down. 8 goes into 20 twice, which is 16. And we're just going to, even though this will end, if I brought down one more 0, it's going to end. We're just going to stop anyway because we only need one decimal. So my mean absolute deviation, which we sometimes call the MAD for mad, so it's kind of funny, mean and mad. So the mean absolute deviation is 1.2. So that means since this is really close to 0, our data is really close to the average, which makes sense because all these distances are only like 1 or 2 off from the actual mean. So that's what you do. Add them all up, divide by how many numbers you added. That gives you your mean. Take your mean, subtract all of the original numbers from the mean, and write all of those answers, and then add those all up and divide by how many. And you can always stop after one decimal. So I'm going to give you guys one to try in a second. Okay, so I'm going to have you try this one. So this one says you record the number of pieces of orange colored candies and 10 bags of candy of assorted colors. Find and interpret the mean absolute deviation. So first step, add them all up, divide by how many you added. That's going to give you your mean. Then once you figure out your mean, you're going to subtract all of these original numbers from the mean and write those answers. Once you get those answers, you're going to add them up and divide them by how many there are, and that's your mean absolute deviation. So try this one. This is the only one that you're doing.